This is Valley News Live at 5.
Fargo Police say they are still actively monitoring for any possible threats and suspicious behavior in the metro after rioters stormed the Capitol in Washington, D.C. Wednesday afternoon. Valley News Team's crime and safety reporter, Bailey Hurley, spoke with police today. She joins us live now with what she learned. Bailey?
Andrea, Fargo Police say that the statement the city released last night was more so to relieve the worries and stress that people here in the community had about the possibility of violence here at home. As Andrea, it was just 7 months ago when we saw very similar actions by rioters in downtown Fargo.
It's not likely that it's going to happen here in Fargo, and a lot of people say it's just sleepy little Fargo, but we thought that too back in May, and what was a largely peaceful protest ended up not being very peaceful at the end.
Schindeldecker says that the department is still monitoring social media and says that they are staying in touch with the FBI, so in the unlikely event that something does happen, they're prepared.
We are not just sitting idle and not thinking that it won't happen here, because we want to make sure that the people who live, work, and visit Fargo feel safe and know that they are safe.
Schindeldecker says that as of tonight, there has not been a single threat made towards the department or the city. Live in Fargo tonight, Bailey Hurley, Valley News Live.
All right, thanks, Bailey. Washington is still on edge at this hour after a mob seized the U.S. Capitol and launched a brazen and deadly attack on Congress as they were counting votes from the presidential election. Tracy Potts is live with the aftermath, including questions about how this happened and whether the president provoked it.
Everybody stay down! Members of Congress today recalling the frightening moments when they realized one of the world's most secure buildings was under siege.
Law enforcement came in and told us to sit in our seats, to pull out our gas masks.
Then they rushed the vice president out of the chamber. That tells us immediately something was up.
Today, cleaning up, shoring up windows the angry mob used to get in. The National Guard on patrol, but many ask, where were they yesterday?
Obviously, it was a failure, or you would not have had the police lines breached.
Viral video showing one officer inside trying to push back a crowd, others appearing to open barricades to let them in.
Right now, the appearance of it looks awful.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol.
Critics blame President Trump.
I joined the Senate Democratic leader in calling on the vice president to remove this president by immediately invoking the 25th Amendment.
Lawmakers pushing to hold him accountable with removal or impeachment.
I would certainly support censure.
He was engaged in insurrection.
Democrats and Republicans up all night confirming Joe Biden and Kamala Harris as winners of the election.
Our president is not above the law. Justice serves the people.
The work is done. The healing just beginning.
100 members of Congress are calling for President Trump's removal, saying they believe he incited the violence. The president says there will be an orderly transition on January 20th. We're getting a closer look at the people who stormed the U.S. Capitol building Wednesday. Washington, D.C.'s Metropolitan Police Department released these photos today showing the persons of interest involved in the chaos at the Capitol. The people pictured in these 26 pages are wanted for unlawful entry and potential felony crimes. Authorities believe many of the individuals came from different states across the U.S. If you recognize any of them, you're asked to call police. Former Attorney General William Barr today condemned President Trump's behavior yesterday. In a statement, Mr. Barr said that President Trump's conduct as a violent mob of his supporters stormed the U.S. Capitol was a betrayal of his office and supporters. Barr said Trump's actions of orchestrating a mob to pressure Congress are inexcusable. The former Attorney General was one of Trump's most loyal and ardent defenders in the cabinet. Facebook has extended its ban on President Trump's account indefinitely. CEO Mark Zuckerberg announcing the move on his Facebook page this morning. This comes again after the mob of Trump supporters stormed the U.S. Capitol just after the president made a speech urging them to go to the Capitol. Zuckerberg's statement says, in part, we believe the risks of allowing the president to continue to use our service during this period are simply too great. Therefore, we are extending the block we have placed on his Facebook and Instagram accounts indefinitely. Because of national coverage of the situation at the Capitol yesterday, we were not able to run Jeopardy's episode. However, we will be rerunning the episode tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. on KXJB, which is Channel 4. We haven't been able to get rid of the gray skies, but at least we're hanging on to the fairly decent temperatures. Let's get more on this evening from Hutch. Hey, Hutch.
Andrea, hello. Good evening, everyone. We definitely have more fog across the area, and again, it looks like it's going to settle in for the night. Not only that, there could be some flakes and some drizzle as well. Reduced visibilities under a half of a mile right now, Grand Forks and Jamestown. And that area of light green that you see there is where we have some of the lowest visibility. Look at Alexandria. If you're traveling between here and the Twin Cities, you're going to run into some dense areas of fog as well. This will be a problem into the overnight and into your Friday as well. Fog advisory has been extended to include almost all of the Red River Valley, including Grand Forks and the Northern Valley, for the overnight and into the midday hours tomorrow. There is a look at Grand Forks. In Fargo tonight, looks like we're going to see steady eddy temperatures, cloudy skies, patchy fog, south winds at 5 to 15 miles per hour will continue, and in Grand Forks, similar conditions. Now, we do have a chance for some areas of drizzle with this soupy air. I'll have details on that, where the best chance is, and we'll talk about if there's a chance at seeing the sun and if it will come out tomorrow or not here in just a few minutes.
Okay, thanks, Hutch. 26 people are now being indicted in what North Dakota U.S. Attorney Drew Wrigley calls an unprecedented drug trafficking bust. Wrigley says the investigation has been going on for a few years and deals with very significant oxycodone dealers based out of Detroit. According to Wrigley, evidence shows transportation of tens of thousands of oxycodone pills into North Dakota and worth around $2.5 million. Records show pills were distributed in or near the Turtle Mountain Indian Reservation, Spirit Lake Indian Reservation, and Fort Berthold Indian Reservation. One man is now in jail after a string of vehicle thefts involving unlocked vehicles and keys left inside. After a thorough investigation, authorities say 24-year-old Lucas Kohlberg was arrested on Saturday for 3 counts of motor vehicle theft and a robbery involving a threat of a weapon. Police say Kohlberg committed this robbery while using a vehicle he stole that was left unlocked with the key in it. Fargo Police say make sure you lock your vehicles. No criminal charges will be filed against former Deputy Chief Todd Osmundson, who went undercover during a May gathering in memory of George Floyd in Fargo. The Cass County State's Attorney says the decision not to file charges against Osmundson was made after an independent investigation done by the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. The Grand Forks Police Department wants you to know about a high-risk sex offender in the area. Authorities say Michael McGee currently lives at 404 Oak Street. He's been convicted of aggravated sexual assault. Officials say McGee is a high-risk offender, meaning he is more likely to reoffend. McGee must register for a lifetime. A man serving a life sentence for the murders of 2 U.S. Marshals who were killed in a shootout near a small North Dakota town nearly 4 decades ago wants to be released from prison after testing positive for COVID-19. 67-year-old Scott Fall has been in federal custody since 1983. He's in the federal prison in Sandstone, Minnesota. Gordon Call and Call's son Yori were involved in a shootout with law enforcement officers near Medina in Stutsman County, which resulted in the deaths of U.S. Marshal Kenneth Muir and Deputy Marshal Robert Cheshire. More COVID rapid antigen testing events are slated for Grand Forks. This Saturday and next Saturday, testing will be offered from noon to 3 at the Grand Cities Mall in the former Christian Bookshelf location next to Ace Hardware. On Wednesday, the 13th, testing is from 4 to 7 p.m. at the Columbia Mall next to the former Sears location. You're encouraged to fill out an online survey for faster registration, and you can find that on our website. Round 2 of the stimulus money is arriving for some and disappearing just as fast. What it's being spent on is still to come.
From our tower cam, things were mighty foggy today up above the ground. Now, we did see some foggy skies at times in the Grand Forks area as well. It continues overnight. Details on flakes as well right after this.